know a child or an adult who is confident. I need to remember when to tell you that we can use these adjectives for both adults and children, but definitely a child or teenager can be confident, and an adult can be confident as well. When you are confident, you are sure of yourself. You are self-assured. A couple of extra terms there. When you are sure of yourself, you don't doubt yourself. So if you doubt yourself, you don't think you can do things. If you are confident, you believe you can do something. If you were on a basketball team and the coach said, you need to play, go on the court. If you are confident, you will get up and you'll go on the court and you will believe that you are going to score a point or 2 points in basketball. If you doubt yourself, then you might not. So, let's see here. Next word is considerate. I think we actually did this word in a previous describing lesson. But a considerate child is a child who is aware of what people around them need and is very helpful and kind and polite. So a considerate child would hold the door open for me when I walk into the school. A considerate sister would help their younger brother with his homework. Okay? A considerate person looks at people around them and thinks, how can I help this person? And then helps them do whatever they're doing. So in this picture, you can see a sister helping her brother with homework. I would say that she's a very considerate person. She understood that her brother needed help and she helped him. Considerate people are very nice. When I was young and when I did work on the farm, my mom was very considerate. She would bring us food and snacks when we were working on the farm. So again, considerate is another one that you can use to talk about children and adults as well. Determined. If a child or an adult is determined, they are going to work hard to get what they want. A determined student will listen in class and will do their homework and will even do more than their homework. A determined student will have like a calendar on their wall. They will plan how they're going to get their work done. A determined person wants to succeed and will work really hard in an organized and well thought out way to be successful. Okay? Another good example would be if you needed to pass an English test. A determined person would study every day for every single day before the test. They would be determined to pass the test, and you would see that they are determined by how much work they did. Let's see here. Articulate. So someone who is articulate, this can be used to describe children or adults. A person who is articulate is well spoken. Of course, they're going to pronounce their words correctly, but it's more than just pronouncing your words correctly. An articulate person is someone who is a good speaker. An articulate person, when they talk in front of a group of people, is very engaging and fun and enjoyable to listen to. So an articulate person, we would also say, has a way with words. That's another way in English to describe it. Someone who has a way with words is articulate. Often when you go to a graduation, there will be someone called the valedictorian who gives a speech on behalf of the class. And many times after the graduation, people will say, oh, the valedictorian was very articulate. That was a really good speech that they gave. So an articulate person is well spoken. They speak clearly, they're fun and enjoyable to listen to, and we describe them as articulate. Persistent. So a persistent child, and an adult can be persistent as well. A persistent child would be a child who asks questions until they get the answer they want. When I went to the grocery store when my kids were younger, they would want things in the grocery store and they would ask and ask and ask. They would be very persistent. They would say, I want those cookies. And I would say no. And they would say, but I really want those cookies. And I would say no. And they would say, if you don't get me those cookies, I'm going to scream. And I would say, no, go ahead. But they were very persistent. They asked over and over again if I would buy the cookie that they liked. Let's see here. Modag says, Mr. Bob is definitely articulate. Thank you, Modag. I try to be articulate. I try to be engaging and fun to listen to. And Lolly Lolly says, I am determined to learn English. Great example phrase, Lolly Lolly. Très bien. Enthusiastic. This word gives English learners some trouble. It looks like a big word. It looks hard to pronounce. Let me say it a few more times. Enthusiastic. That TH can kind of trip you up a little bit. An enthusiastic child is excited to do something. If I tell my students that we're going on a class trip, they are very enthusiastic. If I tell my students we're having a test tomorrow, they are not enthusiastic. So in class, if you announce something like, we're having snacks today, students will be very enthusiastic. They will be excited because we are going to have snacks. They will be enthusiastic. They will be happy. They will smile a lot, and they will be excited to do whatever I had announced. Talkative. This is another one. I think there's about 3 or 4 in this lesson that were in other lessons. Let me just jump to the chat. Modag says persistent equals insistent. Yes, exactly the same. When you're insistent, you're persistent. You just very much want the same thing. Just let me see here. Talkative, yes. So I did do this in a previous lesson, but it's worth mentioning that a talkative person talks a lot, okay? You might have a friend who's very talkative. Children are often very talkative. Children can be quiet, which is the opposite. Or you might have a child that you know who is very talkative. Maybe when you take your own kids or a nephew or niece, or maybe a younger sibling, or maybe just one of the neighborhood kids, they just might be talkative. Whenever you're around them, they talk a lot. It's usually a positive description, but if we add to in front of it, if I say, he's too talkative, it becomes negative, okay? So you have to kind of listen to how the word is being used. Trustworthy. So someone who is trustworthy will not lie to you, will not steal from you, will not do things that are mean. A trustworthy person, we would in English say they've got your back, okay? So a trustworthy person is someone who you trust. Generally speaking, kids trust their parents. In most situations, kids trust their teachers. But mostly kids are looking for friends who are trustworthy. You don't want a friend who's going to stab you in the back. When you stab someone in the back, it means you tell lies about them to other people. Kids are always looking for friends who are trustworthy. When our own kids started going to school, our hope was that they would find friends at school who were trustworthy. Friends that they could trust and develop good friendship with. Which is kind of different than sneaky. A sneaky person, and we do use this mostly to talk about kids. You can say an adult is sneaky, but sometimes kids are sneaky. This means not exactly the opposite of trustworthy, but definitely almost an opposite. A sneaky child will maybe cheat on a test. A sneaky child might, if you say to a sneaky child, you can have 2 cookies, they might, when you're not looking, take 3. A sneaky child might hide when you're trying to find them. Maybe you're leaving to go to the grocery store. If you have a sneaky child, they might hide on you. But a sneaky child is not trustworthy. I would say it's almost the opposite. Sneaky. But you can be sneaky in a funny way too. So it's not totally negative, but it does certainly have negative connotations. Outgoing is similar to talkative. An outgoing person enjoys conversation. An outgoing person enjoys talking to other people. Sometimes teenagers like to stay home, but sometimes at a certain point in their life, they become a little more outgoing. They start to enjoy going out with friends, or even visiting with other family members. So you see here a teenager talking to an older person, maybe her grandma. We would say that she's very outgoing. Maybe when she she visits family. She talks to all her uncles and aunts. An outgoing person just enjoys being in social situations. Let's do one more, and then we will do some more questions. An active child. So an active child, this is similar to a rambunctious child. This is similar to a child who is hyper. Sorry, I had to check my list. An active child just runs around. Active children love being outside. Parents of active children like it when their child goes outside. But maybe you know of a child who's very active. Maybe you are active. Maybe you're watching this and you yourself are an active child. I know I have members of people of all ages watching these videos. So maybe you are active and maybe you are someone who runs around a lot. But we generally use this term to describe a child who likes to run around. If you use active to describe an adult, it means that they play a sport or they do exercising. They exercise or they like run or walk. So the doctor, when talking to an adult, might say, "Are you staying active?" And you could say, "Yep, I'm a very active person. I go to the gym 3 times a week and I run twice a week." So active, when we describe a child, means rambunctious or hyper. But active, when we describe an adult, means someone who is exercising regularly. Curious. So